Okay, welcome to another edition of Getting Data Science Done Command Line Tips. Today we are going to start down the path of writing our own shell scripts. So these are small programs you can write and run at the command line that you can use to orchestrate other scripts or other programs you might use. So in today's tutorial, we will focus on writing a bash script, but you need to be wary that by default on modern Macs, you will be using, your shell will actually be something called the Z shell. Now that's not going to matter because you can quickly find where your the bash is by simply typing which bash, and it'll show you this path here, /bin/bash, and that is the location of the shell X, basically the terminal or the executable for that shell, which effectively tells it how to execute a given script. Now, so let's start by writing a little, we're going to call this ops.shell, because the first thing we need to do once we start writing a shell script is typically deal with some command line options, and that's where the flexibility comes from. So this is what we're going to explore today. Now, the first item on the agenda for any new shell script is to tell the shell how to execute, which means basically telling it which shell programming language you're using. And in our case, we're going to be using the bash shell, so we have to give it this little shebang, which means hash exclamation point, or shebang, and then that bin/bash that we saw there, the location of our shell. Let's just use the echo statement, which is effectively the same as a print statement, and do a kind of a hello world to begin with, just to make sure that everything is working. Let's write that out. Now, before this executes, we also need to make use of another common shell command, and that is change mode, CHMOD, change mode, and we're going to say +X to basically says make this script executable, and apply that to our ops.shell. So once we've done that, we see that we can now just quickly do run that ops shell script is now executable, and it will output the hello. Awesome. So most of the power inside our shell scripts will come from the fact that we can pass in these command line options. A simple way to do that is make use of some special characters inside the shell. So $1 basically means the first command line option that we're given, and you could also say, for example, sort of $2 if you wanted to grab the second command line option. Let's write that out. Now, if we execute it again, it will simply just print hello because I haven't given it any command line options. I can now write hello John like this, or hello John Hawkins to write my full name out. So you can see it's picking up those two different explicitly referred to command line options. Now, commonly, we might want to write shell scripts that can deal with an arbitrary number of inputs. So that could be a sort of list of files that we're passing in. So we typically won't want to do that by sort of naming those arguments one after the other. What we might want to do is run over an array of command line arguments that are passed in. So I'm going to change the way this sort of header is written. Hello, you gave me, semicolon. Now, what we need to do is iterate for item in. There's a special symbol, which is $@ symbol. That is basically the array of command line options that are available. In bash, we need to use the do/done construct to basically delimit what is being done in each iteration of this for loop. And then what we're going to do is echo out the item itself. So you'll note that we always need to use, even though we're sort of, in a sense, determining this variable here in the for construct without the $, when we refer to it here later, then we need to make use of the $ construct. Let's write that out. If we do our ops as before with nothing, hello, you gave me nothing. But if I go hello, John Hawkins, or I do hello, John Bob Sally, you can see that it's transparently dealing with this arbitrary list of command line options that we've passed in. So you might, for example, this could, for example, be a list of sort of CSV files, you know, that we might be sort of wanting to process, join, apply the same kind of pre-processing on. Many different kind of uses for this inside a shell script. And that could be inside, if we go back to that here, you can see this component where we're dealing with them, that could be executing a Python script or calling some other program. So typically that's how you, you can make it deal with arbitrary inputs. You should also note that if you the syntax for Bash and Z shell is very similar. So if I just find out where my Z shell is, it's in, actually clear that, do that again. You can see that it's also in that /bin binary directory. So I can actually modify this VOps to use that alternative shell for execution, like this, and you will see when I execute that I get the same output. So syntax is very similar and in fact identical for most of these elementary tasks in Bash and Z shell. So I hope that you find that useful, starts you down the path of writing your own shell scripts, and I will see you again next time.